Before this part of the story begins, you should know some wounds don't heal quietly. What comes next forces me to confront the pain I tried to bury, and the part of myself I was afraid to become.
You are watching Betrayal Story Central. Let's step into the story.
Dorian's anger sat in the house like a cold draft, silent, chilling, constant. After I accepted the cafe contract, he grew restless. He walked from room to room with a frown carved across his face. He opened bills, stared at them, then folded them back with slow frustration. He no longer joked. He no longer smirked. He brooded. I tried to stay focused. I baked my first official batch for the cafe. I wrapped everything carefully. I double-checked every flavor. Verity sent a message later that afternoon. Perfect! Customers love them. Let us continue with the trial. My chest warmed with relief. But when I returned home, I found Dorian sitting on the sofa with his blazer still on, staring at nothing. I paused. Are you all right? I asked. He did not look up. They demoted me, he said quietly. The words hung in the air before they fell on both of us, heavy, unexpected. They said I do not meet the new leadership criteria, he added. They said my performance is slipping. I swallowed. I am sorry, I said softly. He kept staring ahead. They cut my team, cut my bonuses, cut my responsibilities. They said it is temporary, but I know what it means. His voice shook with anger he did not want me to hear. They do not value me, Ilara. I sat on the other end of the sofa. I know this is hard, I said, but you will figure it out. He finally turned to look at me, and something sharp flickered behind his eyes. That cafe contract, he said. You accepted it today. Yes. He laughed once, bitterly. So the same day my career drops, your little hobby rises. My stomach tightened. This is not a competition, I said. He stood up suddenly. It feels like one, he snapped. You get attention. I lose mine. You get opportunities. I lose status. That is not fair, I said. He shook his head and walked into the kitchen. I followed slowly. He turned on the tap and splashed water on his face. Do you know what it feels like? He said quietly. To watch everyone at work pass you? To feel invisible? I swallowed. Yes, I said. I do. He froze. We stood in silence. Then he reached for a towel and wiped his face. You're lucky I still have some savings, he said. Otherwise, we would be drowning. My chest tightened. Savings. My envelope. The money he took. I said nothing. Over the next few days, things grew worse. Dorian came home late. He stopped eating dinner. He avoided my eyes. He snapped easily. His frustration had no direction, so it landed on me. You left dishes in the sink. You used too much electricity today? You think you're better than me because of that cafe? I ignored the comments and focused on my work. The cafe requested a second batch, then a third, then a custom order for a weekend event. My kitchen and my confidence grew together. But with each step I took forward, Dorian took a step back. He held onto his pride with tight fists. One evening, as I was measuring flour, he walked into the kitchen and watched me quietly. You really think this will take off? He said. I think it might, I replied. He stepped closer. Then you should remember who supported you while you chased this. I turned to him. You did not support me, I said. You mocked me. His jaw clenched. I protect you from disappointment, he said. No, I said calmly. You protect yourself from feeling left behind. His eyes darkened. He opened the drawer near the sink, the same one where I had kept my savings. It was empty. He looked at me. You keep secrets, he said. So do you, I replied. He closed the drawer slowly. This house feels different, he said. You feel different. I held his gaze. I am becoming who I should have been, I said. He stepped closer until we were inches apart. Well, he said quietly, If you keep going, you better be ready for the consequences. You will see, he whispered. He walked away, leaving the air heavy behind him. The next morning, a message from Verity arrived. Ilara, can you deliver 25 boxes on Saturday for a special event? Paid in advance. My hands shook with excitement. This was big, huge. I typed yes. It felt like the beginning of my real life. Later that day, when I came home with new baking supplies, I found the kitchen drawers open, my tools scattered, and Dorian sitting at the table with a cold, unreadable expression. He looked at the supplies, then at me, and he said, "Tell me why you think you're allowed to do this." Dorian sat at the kitchen table with both hands clasped in front of him. The baking supplies I bought earlier were scattered around him in a silent accusation. Measuring spoons, sugar bags, a new rolling pin, the receipt. He did not blink. "Tell me why you think you're allowed to do this," he said again, slower this time. I stood in the doorway, holding the strap of my bag tightly. "I do not need permission," I said quietly. His jaw flexed. A small twitch near his temple betrayed the anger rising under the surface. "Ilara," he said, "I am trying to protect our home. We cannot afford for you to run around chasing fantasies. I am the head of this house. My word should mean something." A familiar ache spread through my chest. "I am not chasing fantasies," I said. "This is real. The cafe wants my pastries. Customers want more. This is the first time in years I feel like I am building something." He rose from the chair. "You are building chaos," he snapped. "We cannot afford your mess." "My mess," I repeated, almost laughing. "Dorian, I bring in more income this month than you have after your demotion." His face reddened. "I provide stability," he said. "I always have." "You took my savings," I said. He froze. The silence that followed was thick and sharp. "You kept money from me for months," he said defensively. "You hid it. I only took what belonged in the household budget." "That money was mine," I said. "My work, my effort, and you took it without asking." He stepped forward. "You think that little envelope makes you independent," he said. "It does not. You still live here. You still eat food I pay for. You still rely on me." I felt something shift inside me, a small door opening, a quiet voice rising. "No," I said. "I rely on myself." His expression hardened. "Ilara," he said, "I am losing my standing at work. I cannot lose control at home too." There it was, the truth he always hid behind his tone. Control, not love, not partnership, control. I picked up one of my pastry boxes from the counter and placed it gently on the table. "This is what I control," I said. "My hands, my craft, my future." He knocked the box off the table. It hit the floor with a soft, heartbreaking thud. I stared at it. Cream smeared across the tile. Broken pastries. Hours of careful work ruined in seconds. "You are embarrassing yourself," he said, "and you are embarrassing me." Something inside me cracked open. Not a fracture this time, a break with sound. I lifted my face and looked him in the eye. "Do you think I will stay and let you break me piece by piece?" I asked softly. He scoffed. "You will stay because you have nowhere else to go." The words pushed me over a line I did not know I was standing on. I walked past him, opened the drawer under the sink, and pulled out a small tote bag I kept for errands. I packed it quietly. A change of clothes, my notebook, my phone charger, my baking gloves. He stared in disbelief. "Alara," he said. "Stop. You are being dramatic." I zipped the bag. "I am not being dramatic," I said. "I am leaving." He stepped in front of the doorway. "You are not walking out that door." I looked him in the eyes with the calmest voice I had ever used with him. "Move." He did not move, so I stepped closer. "If you touch me, I said calmly. I will call Verity, and she will bring the police herself. She asked me once if everything was all right at home. I did not tell her the truth, but I will today. His eyes flickered with panic. He stepped aside. I walked past him. He did not follow. At the door, I paused. I looked back at the kitchen, the broken pastries, the ruined box, the pieces of who I had been. You tried to bury me, I said quietly. You forgot that seeds grow. I turned the knob and walked out. The cold evening air hit my face. My bag felt light. My heart felt heavy, but my steps felt sure. I walked to my sister's house. I did not look back. That night, while I lay on my sister's couch, exhausted but free, my phone buzzed with a message from Verity. Ilara, can we talk tomorrow? I have a big opportunity for you. I woke up on my sister's couch with a stiff neck and swollen eyes. But for the first time in a long while, the air around me felt safe. Real safety is quiet, soft, steady. You only notice it after living without it for too long. My sister Mara walked into the living room with 2 mugs of tea. You look like you slept for 3 minutes, she said gently. Maybe 4, I replied. She sat beside me. You can stay here as long as you need, she said. No pressure, no questions. I nodded, grateful. But inside, I felt restless. Not lost. Restless. There is a difference. My phone buzzed again, a message from Verity. Can you come by the cafe at 10? I want to talk about Saturday's event order. I checked the time. It was 7:30. I took a deep breath. I need to go to the cafe later, I told Mara. She wants to discuss something important. Then you should go, Mara said. Everything else can wait. I smiled weakly. Thank you. After a quick shower and borrowed clothes, I packed my notebook and left the house. My legs still felt shaky from last night, but my steps were firm. The cafe buzzed with morning energy. People lined up with warm cups in hand. Sunlight poured through the windows. Verity spotted me the moment I walked in. There you are, she said, waving me over. Sit. We have things to discuss. I sat across from her, trying to steady my breath. She placed 2 sheets of paper on the table. These are the details for Saturday's event, she said. 25 boxes, different assortments, high-profile clients. I scanned the papers, nodding as I took in the list of pastries and quantities. You can handle this, she said. I know you can. I can, I said, and I meant it. But that is not all, she added. She grabbed her tablet and turned it toward me. A food blogger's page filled the screen. Thousands of followers, bright photos, a clean aesthetic. He wants to feature your pastries next week, she said. He tried them at our cafe last Saturday and asked for your contact. I told him I would check with you. My jaw tightened in disbelief. A feature? I asked softly. Yes, a full post. Maybe even a short video if he likes your process. I covered my mouth with my hands. I am not used to this kind of attention, I said quietly. That is because you have been hiding, she said. Now you're stepping into who you are. This is only the beginning. Her words sank deep, not like praise, more like truth. We discussed logistics, timelines, and packaging for the event. She was supportive, patient, and calm. Everything Dorian never was. Before I left, she touched my arm gently. Ilara, she said, I do not know what you are going through at home, but let me say this. Whatever you decide to leave behind, your future is bigger than what you walked away from. I blinked quickly, overwhelmed. Thank you, I whispered. When I returned to Mara's house, I went straight to the small spare room and set up a makeshift baking station. A folding table, a borrowed mixer, 2 borrowed trays. Just enough. Mara peeked in, smiling. It looks like you're building something, she said. I am, I replied. Then I baked. Late into the evening, tray after tray. the room filled with warmth and sugar and purpose. My hands moved with confidence I had only discovered recently. My heartbeat steadied. My mind cleared. I did not think about Dorian, not once. When I finished the first full batch for Saturday's event, I stepped back and looked at the boxes lined neatly on the table. This was mine. This was real. This was the start. Around 9:30, my phone buzzed again. A message from a number I did not recognize. Hi, is this Alara, the baker? I tasted your pastries at the office event last week. Can I place an order for next Friday? Then another message, and another. 3 more inquiries. My breath caught. My hands shook. Not from fear this time, from disbelief. The world had started turning toward me. Mara walked in and froze at the sight of all the boxes. Ilara, she whispered, this is a business. You're building a real business. I closed my eyes for a moment and let the truth wash over me. Yes, I said quietly. I am. She hugged me tightly. You're going to be fine, she said. I believed her, for the first time. Just as I began cleaning up the room, my phone lit up again. This time, the name on the screen made my breath stop. Dorian. The phone buzzed again. Dorian's name glowed across the screen like a warning light. Mara looked at me. You do not have to answer, she said, but I already knew I would. Not for him, for closure. I stepped into the hallway and pressed accept. Ilara, he said, out of breath. Where are you? My grip tightened on the phone. You know where I am? I said. Mara told you when you called her earlier. He exhaled sharply. Come home, he said. We need to talk. There is nothing left to talk about, I replied. His voice rose. Do not say that. You walked out in the middle of a problem. You made this worse. I swallowed. I walked out because I refused to become smaller just to make you feel bigger, I said. He went silent for a moment. Please, he said finally. Just come home. We will figure things out. His tone was softer now, almost pleading, but I heard something underneath it. Fear, not love. Fear of losing control. I am not coming home, I said. He inhaled sharply. Ilara, I am sorry, he said. I am stressed. I took things out on you. I should not have. I know I should not have. You broke my pastries, I said quietly. The sentence surprised even me. It sounded small, but it carried everything. He sighed. It was a mistake, he said. You know I did not mean it like that. You took my savings. You hid money from me. It was mine. It was for the house. I closed my eyes. We were not having a conversation. We were circling the same wound he refused to acknowledge. Dorian, I said softly, what do you want from me? Another pause. I want my wife back, he said. My heart tightened for a brief second. Not because of longing, because of what that sentence revealed. He wanted the version of me that bowed, the version that swallowed her dreams, the version that had no voice. I breathed slowly. I am not that woman anymore, I said, and she is not coming back. His voice cracked. Ilara, please. I lost my position at work. I am drowning. I cannot do this alone. My voice stayed calm. I know you're struggling, I said, but you wanted control, not partnership. You did not want someone standing beside you. You wanted someone kneeling in your shadow. He fell silent again. Ilara, he said quietly, I love you. A sad warmth moved through me. Maybe he believed that, maybe in his own way, but love without respect is only possession. I loved you, I said, but I cannot love someone who needs me to shrink so he can stand tall. He took a shaky breath. So this is it? He asked. You're choosing a baking hobby over your marriage. I almost laughed. This is not about pastries, I said. This is about myself. He exhaled sharply. I will change, he said. I swear I will change. I felt my throat tighten. Dorian, I said, You are only saying that because you lost something you thought you controlled, not because you respect who I am." His silence confirmed it. After a long pause, he said, "So you are ending us." I looked through the doorway into the spare room, the boxes, the baking tools, my notebook, my new life taking shape. "Yes," I said, "I am ending what kept me small." The line stayed quiet for several seconds. Then his voice returned, but something in it had cracked. "You will regret this," he said. "People like you do not survive out there alone." I felt the sting of the words, but they no longer pierced. "Maybe I will struggle," I said. "Maybe I will cry. Maybe I will fail, but I will not go back to who I was." "Ilara, do not hang up," he said quickly. "I have nothing more to say," I replied. "Ilara," I clicked end. The silence that followed felt solid and warm. Mara stepped into the hallway. "You all right?" she asked. "I think I am," I said. She hugged me. "You deserve better," she whispered. I nodded, holding back tears. That night, I finished assembling all 25 boxes for the event. Each box felt like a small piece of my future. My hands moved with purpose, not fear. When I finally lay down on the couch again, exhausted but steady, my phone buzzed one more time. A message from the food blogger. "Ilara, I tried some of your pastries today at Verity's Cafe. I think you have something special. Let us meet this week." I stared at the message with a trembling smile. My past had finally loosened its grip. My future was knocking gently. I whispered into the dark, "Tomorrow, everything changes." Saturday arrived with a soft golden sunrise that slipped through Mara's curtains. I woke before my alarm, not from anxiety, but from a steady sense of purpose. The kitchen smelled like vanilla and warm sugar. 25 boxes sat neatly on the table, stacked with care, each one tied with a thin ribbon. They looked beautiful. They looked like me, not the woman I had been, the one I was becoming. Mara walked in with her hair tied up and a sleepy smile on her face. "You did it," she said. "This room looks like a bakery." "It feels like one," I replied. She hugged me, then grabbed her keys. "Let us get these delivered." We loaded the boxes into her car and drove to the cafe. The city was waking up, shops opening, people jogging, a quiet hum of life. When we arrived, Verity met us at the door. "Perfect timing," she said. "Come in. They look amazing." She opened a few boxes and smiled. "Ilara, these are even better than the samples. You have improved in such a short time." Her praise still felt new, like sunlight warming a place in me that had been cold for years. We arranged everything on a long counter in the back room. The event organizers arrived soon after. They tasted the pastries. They smiled. They took photos. One of them asked for 50 boxes for next month. I nearly dropped the spatula in my hand. Verity laughed. "Ilara, welcome to growth." For the first time in years, I let myself feel proud without apologizing for it. After the delivery, I sat with Verity near the window while Mara chatted with a barista. "So," Verity said gently, "what is your plan now? You cannot keep working out of your sister's spare room forever." I nodded. "I know," I said. "I want something more permanent." She leaned forward. "I have a proposal," she said. "We have an unused storage room in the back. If you clean it, paint it, and invest in basic equipment, you can use it as your baking studio. Low rent, flexible schedule, safe environment. I can help promote your work." My breath caught. "You would do that for me?" I asked. She smiled. "I would do that for someone who works hard. And you work hard." Emotion rose quietly in my throat. "Thank you," I whispered. "This is your moment, Ilara," she said. "Do not look backward." Mara drove us home, and for the rest of the afternoon I planned. Equipment lists, storage shelves, a small fridge, a logo, packaging ideas. My life felt full in a way I had never known. Later that night, I stepped outside to breathe in the cool air. My phone buzzed. It was the food blogger. Can we meet tomorrow afternoon? I want to feature your story. People should know who Alara is. I smiled. People should know who Alara is. For years, I tried to shrink. I tried to fit inside the space Dorian allowed. Now there was no space small enough to hold me. The next day, the blogger arrived at Verity's cafe. A man with a bright camera and quick eyes. He tasted my pastries, took photos of my hands at work, asked me questions about my process, my inspiration, my journey. I chose my answers carefully, not to hide my past but to honor my present. When he asked, "What made you start baking?" I smiled softly and said, "I needed to prove to myself that I could build something with my own hands." When he asked, "What pushed you to take it seriously?" I said, "I learned that the life I wanted would not come find me. I had to make it." When he asked, "What do you want people to know about you?" I replied, "That I am no longer afraid of my own dreams." He nodded, impressed. By the time the session ended, he turned to me and said, "Ilara, people will connect with your story. You are the kind of person others root for." Something warm settled deep in my chest, something that felt like home. Over the next few days, orders kept coming, weekends filled, my schedule grew. I rented the back room at the cafe and began shaping it into a real workspace. Mara visited every evening. She helped paint the walls. She bought me a small shelf. Verity donated a stool. Bit by bit, my life grew into a place I recognized, a place I chose. One afternoon, as I stood alone in the new baking room, hands dusted with flour, music playing softly in the background, I felt the full weight of what I had become. Not a dreamer with fragile hopes, not a wife walking on eggshells, not a woman defined by someone else's limits. I was Alara Winslow, a baker, a business owner, a woman rebuilt by her own hands. I wiped the counter clean, exhaled deeply, and whispered, "I made it out." And as if the universe wanted to seal the moment, my phone buzzed. A notification from the food blogger. "Ilara, the post is live. People love you already. Check your inbox." I opened the post. Hundreds of likes, dozens of comments, messages asking for orders, words of support from strangers. My story finally belonged to me. My life finally belonged to me. I smiled and whispered the truth that had carried me through the fire. Dorian tried to bury me. He did not know I was a seed. This is where my story begins to breathe again. I may not have every answer yet, but I am no longer living in silence. If this journey meant something to you, I'd love to have you stay with us here on the channel and share what part of the story stayed with you. Thank you for listening.